Hi, my name is Paige. Welcome to my channel. So you know the drill already if you have watched my previous two videos. I will link the first one up here, but we are on to book number 3 in Stormlight Archive. So please leave any conversation that you have only up to the events that happen in Oathbringer. You can talk about the past 2 books as well, but please do not talk about book number 4 yet. I have not started it. I plan to hopefully read it in August. So if it is not August, please do not talk about that book. Please and thank you, because I do not want to be spoiled for anything that happens in any of these books, because I love going into Brandon Sanderson books blind, even though I don't always pick up all of the information. It's okay. It's okay. It's still a fun time for me. But this is a long one, so grab a snack if you want one. And yeah, I'll just let you see what my reaction is to Oathbringer. I will say it is mostly positive. Enjoy. Okay, so I went to start Oathbringer, and at the very beginning it says that now is the time to read Edgedancer. So I looked it up, and apparently I did not need to purchase Emperor's Soul and Mistborn Secret History on their own, because there is a whole collection of all of these short stories. I don't know why it just like didn't click. I feel like people have told me get the Arcanum Unbounded, and I don't know why it did not click that I needed to get that and all of the stories would be in there. I thought just a couple of them. I don't know what was going on through my mind. So I have purchased a couple of ebooks that I didn't need to, but now I officially have this one, and we are going to listen to Edgedancer. I started literally like 10 seconds ago and realized that it is about Lift, who was a interlude character in the last book. What was it called? Words of Radiance. And so I'm excited to see what is going on with Lift. I don't know if this is a prequel to what happened in that interlude or if this is following after that. She was just a very interesting character, and she very clearly didn't know what was going on with her powers and what was happening to her, and making her have this awesomeness that can make her slippery and just glide along wherever she wants to go. So I'm just intrigued to see if she figures out what that is. But yeah, I'm going to attempt to read most of this tonight, probably finish it tomorrow, and then we will jump into Oathbringer. I am so excited. I do, however, have about 4 gajillion books on my TBR that I'm trying to read, so I'm really hoping that Oathbringer doesn't take me as long as the other ones have taken me to read, but I have a feeling it will. I might just be like pushing myself to the brink of exhaustion and trying to read every night for hours at a time. So I'll let you know how I feel halfway through this one. I am not halfway through, but I just need to say that I love Wendell. He is Lift's spren, and he is just so exacerbated by having to be her spren. He mentioned one of the other interlude characters from, I think, Words of Radiance, and said that they were considering, they being the spren, bonding to this nice cobbler man instead of you, and he's like mourning that he couldn't have just made shoes all the time. So that was a shoemaker who helped all the little kids, and I think he got murdered at the end of that, but I can't remember by who. So Wendell could have been his spren and made him a Knight Radiant, but they, I guess, chose Lift, and Lift is just not doing it for him. He's so annoyed with her, and I absolutely love that. So their dynamic is really, really funny, and she's just so oblivious, yet you know that she's smarter than she lets on, but she definitely doesn't know anything that's going on with this spren being the shard blades, you know, because he keeps hinting at it like, oh, you're gonna knock me into people, you're gonna use me to hurt people. She's like, what are you talking about? So I like this dynamic. It's really funny. Wendell's really cute. All these spren are just making me fall in love with them, and I'm just going to be heartbroken when any of these spren are harmed. Syl, Pattern, Wendell, I love them. I love them so much, so please don't break my heart. Alright, it is the next day, and I am almost done with Edgebringer. I have about 21 minutes left. And I am just gonna admit right now, I forget who the heralds are. Like, what are they? And how are they different to Knight's Radiance? And we apparently have just met a Sleepless named Arklow. Have we ever heard about Sleepless before? Who are they? Are they a different like rung in this whole Cosmere? I am so confused. I've said it many times in these videos that I really try and stay away from any like Wikipedia and Googling of anything that has to do with the Cosmere because I don't want to be spoiled. So I am okay with not knowing all of these things because I know that once I finish book 4 eventually, I will be able to go and reread everything and like really understand what's going on. But right now I still feel so confused. I feel like I'm getting like big plot points, but like these little details, and not even little details, like I know the heralds are a big detail, I just can't keep track of all of it. So heralds and sleepless, that's what I need to figure out by the end of finishing Oathbringer. Okay, that's my goal. When I edit this video, I will probably forget ever saying this. Here's to show how my memory works. I totally forgot that Sadeas had been murdered by Adolin at the end of the last book. Like one of the biggest things that happened at the very end. I think it was just so shocking that I didn't believe it, but it's like true. Sadeas is dead and we're all happy about it. But something cool was just revealed, and it's about Bridge 4. So it looks like all of Bridge 4 are considered squires because Kaladin is a full radiant and he is technically their master, so they are like reaping the benefits of him having these powers. And that is why Lopin, if I'm getting my characters correct, was able to regrow his missing arm. So Lopin is not a Knight Radiant, he's just a squire, and just because of Kaladin's abilities he's able to absorb Stormlight. I think I'm getting that right. I'm really trying to pay a little bit more attention to these details this time around because I've noticed in a few of my comments that I've been missing some big things. You know, like totally missing that Shallan had a shard blade in book 1, and then not really understanding that the Spren are the shard blades. I feel like I understood that after the book had ended and I went, oh, that makes sense, that the Spren are the ones who turn into the shard blade, but I didn't really understand that like all of the other shard blades that people are using who aren't Knight Radiants, like they're using dead Spren, right? Is that right? I don't know. I'm trying. Okay, I'm gonna highlight things and remember things this time. But I do look forward to hearing all of the things I'm missing in the comments, so please let me know. Am I the only one who does not like Dalinar and Navani together? I can't get behind it. I just can't get behind it. There is something that just does not feel right to me, and I don't think my opinion is the correct one to have. I think we are supposed to like them together. We are supposed to think it's romantic, that like Dalinar has wanted to be with her forever, even though he was married and had 2 kids with this person that he was married, and then for whatever reason has now forgotten her and can never hear her name without it sounding like wind, and he doesn't remember meeting her or falling in love with her or how it felt when she died, you know? I just don't like him and Navani together. It just feels so dry. And that could just be because Brandon Sanderson doesn't know how to write romance very well, or really any sort of relationship that isn't 2 male characters being friends and like supporting each other and getting to know each other. You know, like I feel like those are his strongest relationships. The partnerships that he makes between all of these male characters, and sometimes the female characters are not quite as established. Shallan is an exception because we have gotten to be in her point of view multiple times, and we've gotten to see her banter with Adolin and Kaladin in both their point of views and her point of view, so I feel like we can see some sort of connection forming with her because we've been in her point of view, and I think we've only been in Navani's point of view once, briefly, and it might have just been her journal entries. I can't remember that perfectly, but I don't know, they just don't feel like there's anything there, and I feel like Brandon's writing tries to push that there is definitely something there, but I just feel icky about it, especially with the wife still being forgotten. Like he literally tells Navani that he doesn't remember his wife, and then within the same page he's saying that like he has never love somebody as much as Navani, and like no man has ever been so lucky because he's gonna marry Navani. It just feels icky. I don't like, I think it's the lack of loyalty, maybe. His lack of loyalty to this forgotten wife, which makes sense because he doesn't remember anything about her. But I would have been more satisfied if he got his memories back of her and then went on to move on with Navani. This mythical wife just puts a wrench in those things for me. Okay. This is now me rambling for about 3 minutes about this. I need to move on. Okay, I'm gonna read to the end of this chapter, probably only make it 5% in, but then I have to go to bed. I'm very worried that I will not be able to finish this by the time my library loan goes back, so hopefully airplane mode will save me, because I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh, I didn't think we'd get a reunion with Kaladin and his parents. Why am I crying? I don't know what to say. I just think it's so sad. I'm like happy that he sees them again, but like knowing that Tian is gone and it's been years, and then they said that they were told that Kaladin had died. Oh, I can't even imagine. I'm just gonna sob the next 5 minutes of this chapter. Why are Kaladin chapters just so much better than all the rest? It ends with him punching Rashon in the face, and I want to keep reading, but the next chapter is 30 minutes long, so I cannot. But Kaladin chapters are my favorite. Kaladin, I love him so much. Okay, tomorrow we will check in. God, I'm gonna run out of time for this book and I am panicking. Kaladin is just making everything so awkward for himself. First of all, I was proud of him. He like stepped up and was commanding everybody about telling them what was gonna happen. Pulled out a shard blade, showed that he's the Light Eyes now, and I was kind of into it. But now Laurel came back, and Laurel is the young woman that Kaladin had a crush on in a way, thought he might marry eventually if he would have stayed in the hometown that he grew up in. And he's already telling her things like, I was planning to come back as a hero and save you from your husband and blah 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 blah. And it just is a little awkward. Like, Kaladin, time and place. This is not the time to be talking about this to her. Like, how long has it been? 5 to 7 years, and you're just acting like this is okay to say to her? You don't know who she is. You have changed as a person. Why do you expect that she's the same person that she was? It's a little awkward. I'm kind of cringing, but we're gonna see what happens. Kaladin has a baby brother. That makes me so sad, because then Tian will never know him. That's so precious. That is so precious. But that's quite the age gap those parents have going on there. But I know I've had a not great relationship with Dalinar. I can't get behind his character for some reason. I feel like I'm so up and down with how I feel about Dalinar. Like, I like that he is just so honorable and everything, but we just got his backstory into how he got Oathbringer, his shard blade, and I'm pretty positive he just killed a 6-year-old boy. And like, I know it's war, and I know that those atrocious things are things that they have to do to win for the greater good, blah blah blah, but like, he was 6 years old and he just wanted to protect his daddy. I just hate that. I hate child deaths. I hate them so bad. I know it is a fact of life, real life. Children die even in war, but I don't want to read it in any books. I don't want to read it. So I just feel kind of sick to my stomach with Dalinar, and I know that he has like a history of loving war, same with Adolin and everything. Like, that thrill that they get in Alethkar is not a good thing. It is very disturbing, the lengths that they'll go to feel that feeling while they're in war. So I know it's not a good thing, but it just, I don't want to read it because it makes me not like these characters, and I want to like them, but I also want to have a whole view of them too. So like, I know it's necessary for them and their character arcs and everything, but it still makes me feel sick to my stomach. I feel sick to my stomach because I'm pretty sure he just murdered a 6-year-old boy, and I don't like that. So that's all I wanted to say, that I just have such a weird up and down relationship with Dalinar, his relationship with Navani, him murdering children. don't love it sometimes. But who he is now as like an older man, I appreciate. But I still sometimes think that he's a little narcissistic in a way. Like, he just thinks that he knows best all the time, always. And that's kind of problematic, but he also has good intentions. So he's a very well-rounded character. I just currently don't like him, okay? I'll change my mind soon. Okay, so at the end of book 1, when we found out that the Parshmen were going to become Voidbringers, I expected this to be way more dramatic than it is. So it seems like this weird storm, which I can't remember what they're calling it, has rolled through and has turned every Parshman into a Voidbringer. So the war form of the Parshendi. So all of these Parshmen should have then been attacking all of the people, and it doesn't seem to be 100% the case. They don't seem to all be attacking any of the people, so I'm just wondering what's going on with that. It seems a little weird. It's not as dramatic as I expected it to be. Like, it sounded like it was going to bring doom and gloom and so much death, but it just doesn't seem like that is 100% the case. I feel like I'm definitely missing some pieces, but I just wanted to say that. I expected that to be a bigger thing than it is, but maybe it's growing into something bigger. Okay, that's all. A lot has happened. I don't know how to react to a lot of it, so I'm just gonna react to this one thing that just happened. Dalinar can remember his wife's name. I don't know how it came back, and it jumps into the Kaladin chapter right after. So I have some questions about that, but I am so freaking glad that he can remember her name. That has been bothering me for 3 books now. So I'm excited to see what happens with that and get some explanations on that. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm just having a hard time trying to figure out what I want to react to, because there's a lot of just little things happening, like Tara Van Jan, who has been kind of a really negative force since book 1, and I've never brought him up in a video, I don't think, has reached out to Dalinar, and it seems like Dalinar is excited to meet up with him because he has no idea all of the really awful things Tara Van Jan has done. He is the one who has been making Szeth assassinate all of the leaders and stuff. So I am intrigued to see what's going on there. And then Adolin has been trying to teach Shallan how to use the shard blade, and she really doesn't want to because she has such bad memories with that one. So there's been a lot of things going on. I just don't feel like I have a lot of thoughts towards it all. I'm just kind of soaking it all in. So I don't have any predictions. I don't really have theories on where things are going to go. I'm just kind of cruising along. So hopefully I'll have more to say, but I don't want to just turn on the camera to tell you what's happening, because if you're watching this, I assume that more than likely you've already read it. So you don't need an overall summary, you know? But I am going to get into a Kaladin chapter now. Ooh, okay, I have something to react to. Of course, my ceiling is rattling. So Kaladin gave himself up, or surrendered to the Parshmen, who are now like caravanning to somewhere, and the one that he's speaking to right now just said, "Do you understand watching your family be torn apart and knowing you should object, knowing deep in your soul that something is profoundly wrong? Can you know that feeling of being unable to say a single storming word to stop it? They may have taken your freedom, but they took our minds." So it seems like this high storm has awoken all of these Parshmen. So they were like trapped in their minds. He said that it was like living in a fog, that every day he knew that he should do something to stop it, and that it seemed like the world was moving around them in light and they were trapped in the shadows. So they were like trapped in their own minds, and now they're all kind of awakened. And so I'm not really sure where they're all going or what they're doing, but it seems like they're all like collectively moving towards each other, possibly to just figure out like what to do with their lives, because they've been trapped for so long. That is so intriguing. I am super eager to keep going. Okay, Shallan is starting to scare me a little bit with her taking on all of these different appearances and personalities and stuff. I feel like she's really getting lost in all of them and not fully able to be just one person, which I know this is part of her powers and her abilities, but like it's getting a little scary because I feel like she's just getting lost in her own mind, and she's pushing away too much of her trauma, that things are just gonna go really, really poorly for her in the future, and I'm worried about how that's gonna look. Also, we have now discovered that there are a bunch of double murders happening. So Adolin had killed Sadeas in a specific way, and then another, possibly High Prince, or just a important Light Eye figure, was killed in the exact same way that Sadeas had been killed. Adolin obviously did not kill the second person. And then Shallan is trying to figure out who could be murdering people in similar ways, and just found out that there was a man who strangled his wife, and then the following night somebody else was murdered in the exact same way. So now we know that there are double murders. Don't know who that could be at all. I have no ideas whatsoever, but yeah, Shallan is worrying me, and now there's a murderer on hand, so this book is turning into a mystery. Okay, I feel like a lot has happened, but I just haven't had the energy to pick up my camera. I'm in the interludes right now, and we are in Venli's point of view, and Venli just mentioned that lesser spren were used to change their forms, and that she can feel the pulsing deep within of the one that she bonded. So all of the Parshendi who have turned into what we're all calling Voidbringers, but I'm kind of doubting if they are actually Voidbringers, have absorbed spren, or like it's almost their version of shard blades in a way, like they're bonded to the spren, but it's like inside their body, is what I am getting from that line right there. I feel like I vaguely remember that being mentioned at the end of the last book, but it might not have been. So that is something interesting to me. And now I'm wondering, like, were the Voidbringers bad spren? Like, how much of everything really like rolls back into the spren, and how much control they had and stuff. So I feel like the spren are even more important than we are led to believe. Like, they are definitely very important, and I feel like that's never been doubted, but I feel like they're even more important, and there's going to be something later on that we're going to learn about the spren and their whole place. Shardsmar? Shadesmar. So I'm interested to see about that. But other than that, I don't have a lot of thoughts right now. I'm just trying to figure everything out. I'm not sure if I'm loving this book as much as the last one. Okay, right at the end of that chapter, Venli found Eshonai's body, and I can't remember who had killed Eshonai. Was it Dalinar or Adolin? Or was it Kaladin? You know, they all they are all too good of fighters that I would believe that any of them had killed Eshonai. But the very, very end, 3,577 people have highlighted this part. What was the small spren that had crept out from beneath Eshonai's corpse? It looked like a small ball of white fire. It gave off a little ring of light and trailed a streak behind it like a comet. I don't know what that means, but 3,577 people highlighted it, so if it's important, I'm going to include it in this video so we can come back to it later. Why do we suddenly have a Sigil point of view? Point of views from Bridge 4 are not allowed, because point of views by other characters that are not in interludes means that that character is gonna get dead. I don't like it. I'd like to formally apologize to Dalinar, who did not kill the 6-year-old like I thought he did. My earlier annoyance with him has gone away, because he did not kill the 6-year-old. So there's that. Oops, sorry, I should have trusted him more. But I feel like we were led to believe that he could do such a heinous thing, like killing an innocent little 6-year-old. I mean, now he's facing the consequences of not killing the heir, but he didn't kill a 6-year-old, and I can rest easy now. Stop it right now. Now we have a point of view in Rock's perspective. Stop it right now. Somebody's gonna die. I'm not gonna be okay, and it better not be Rock. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. I know it in my soul. I am going to be unwell. I'm getting more and more worried that Dalinar and everybody on his side are on the wrong side. So Dalinar is kind of in another vision because he's bonded to the Stormfather, who's like his spren, and the Stormfather is able to like take him back to all of the visions that he had been giving Dalinar originally, and now Dalinar is able to like go into different roles within those visions and see what's happening. And the one that he's currently in, there is a war going on, as there seem to be in most of them, but in this one Dalinar just observed that there were humans who were fighting for the Voidbringers, and the Stormfather said some. And it's just making me wonder if the Voidbringers are actually like not so bad, because we're seeing them in the Parshmen how they just want to live their lives and not be controlled, not be in like a mental fog. Like they do not want to be slaves to anybody. They just want to have their own life. And I'm just wondering if we are on the wrong side, because it kind of feels like that in a bit of a way. It feels like that. But then I think I am of the understanding that odium is somehow tied to the Voidbringers, which would mean that they are bad, because we are pretty certain odium is bad, especially because I have read Mistborn and I know that odium is bad over there. I assume that it means that he's for real bad over here too. So that's where I get a little confused on that part. But it could all be a lie. The Voidbringers could be the good guys in this, and we're on the wrong side. I don't know. Just a thought. Probably wrong, as I am with most theories, but I just figured I'd jot that down. I am growing increasingly more worried that I am not going to be able to finish this book in time before my loan goes back. But we're going to keep on trying and hope for the best. So I am going to pull up my notes that I took during lunch today, if I can find them. I didn't have a lot of time. I think I only had about 35 minutes to read during lunch today. So two things I highlighted was we got a chapter in Tef's point of view, which again, I'm freaking out about all of these Bridge 4 point of views. I just think it is a bad sign, or it could be a very good sign that we are going to get these characters more in depth in the next few books. So maybe they're not all about to die, but I just have a feeling we're going to lose some core members of Bridge 4. Probably just one, maybe a few more. I'm not certain on it, but we got a Tef point of view and we found out that he is like a moss addict. So there's some sort of material, I think it's just moss, that emits some sort of chemical that must be similar to a drug. So he is very addicted to that, and it might have been hinted at before in his previous books. I know that he's a little dark and twisty, and that's been referenced, but I don't remember him ever hinting at having a lot of vices or having one in particular that's stronger than the others. So we have found out that he has a hard time having money because he spends it on this moss, and he just doesn't really know how to set a limit for himself. So that was an interesting tidbit to learn with him, and it's starting to make me feel like this book is just about showing all of the flaws that each of these characters have, because I feel like we are seeing a much deeper look into all of their very flawed selves. So we're getting Shallan and her inability to accept who she is, and her wanting to separate herself into all of these different personas, and not even referencing those personas as being a part of Shallan. Like, she believes that Veil and Radiant are separate, entirely separate people from her, and so that is something that she's struggling with. We have Dalinar's whole backstory and how he chose to be a part of these wars and loved the thrill and lived for that feeling when he was in these battles, and all of the terrible things he did because of that feeling and because of what he was commanded to do. And we're also seeing him kind of question whether or not his morals may be the best ones. And similarly with Kaladin too, like Kaladin's really trying to figure out what is the right side to be on, because he's sympathizing with a lot of these Parshmen and not seeing them as the bad guys, yet he's kind of being told he's gonna have to fight them anyway, even if he knows deep down that they are not bad people. Then we are getting Adolin with him having murdered Sadeas and how he's kind of struggling with not revealing this secret because he knows what would happen to him because of that. So I feel like this book is really giving us all of their flaws and making them almost morally great characters, and that's super interesting. I like that that's happening because we're going to see these like real sides of these characters that are not all perfect and honorable, and I like it. And then the only other thing I highlighted during lunch was when Shallan made note of Dalinar coming into the meeting that they were in, just because he knew that Renarin was not feeling super confident being there, because it was more of a meeting for all of the women who are scribes and stuff, and it made Renarin just feel a little bit more comfortable being there. And I just thought it was so sweet because Renarin is just a precious little being to me. I know that he keeps being referenced as being strange and a little, not like spooky, but people are a little creeped out by him, and I don't see it. I just see him as a little puppy dog, and I love it. So seeing Dalinar like love his kid so much that he just knows that he needs to show up and help Renarin not feel awkward in a meeting is really sweet. So that made me soften up to Dalinar just a little bit. I just love Renarin so much. I want him to have his own point of view. I hope we get it in this book, like we're getting the rest of Bridge 4. Like I hope, because Renarin is part of Bridge 4, we'll be able to see his point of view and finally get into his mind, because I just don't know what's going on in there. It's been hinted at that he has a spren named Gliss, I think. So I want to know all about that too. But I need to charge my Kindle. That means that I will not be reading for a little bit, but I'm going to be reading all night. So you will see me in my pajamas, very tired, eyes watering, trying to go until probably 10, 11, midnight to read this. Oh my gosh, wish me luck. Jasnah and Amaran do not get along. She is ruthless. Oh my gosh. He's trying to get her to convince Dalinar that they can like bridge the gap that is in between them right now, and Jasnah is not having it. She just keeps telling him like, go away, I don't want to see you, I don't want to speak to you. But then she like ruthlessly insulted his mother at one point. I'm shocked. But it's also kind of funny because Jasnah just scolded Shallan for speaking her mind a couple of chapters ago to another, I think it was to a scribe or something, who said something about Renarin, and now she's speaking to a high prince the way that she is. So Jasnah is a little bit of a hypocrite, but that was really funny. I'm very happy that she did that. Odium just showed up in one of Dalinar's visions, and what gets me is that the way that he was described is the man was old with a wide furrowed face and bone-white hair that swept back from his head as if blown by the wind. Thick mustaches with a hint of black in them blended into a short white beard. He seemed to be Shin, judging by his skin and eyes, and he wore a golden crown in his powdery hair. Those eyes, they were ancient, the skin surrounding them deeply creased, and they danced with joy as he smiled at Dalinar and rested a golden scepter on his shoulder. Suddenly overwhelmed, Dalinar fell to his knees. I know you, he whispered. You're him. God. I don't know, like, the description just, like, makes it seem like it's this, like, ethereal being who Dalinar clearly instantly notices as God. But then we find out it's actually Odium. And that's making me feel like my theory on we're on the wrong side could be correct. I just found that introduction a little strange to me. It just stood out. Like this figure in white who looks joyous and happy, and you just know instantly is your God, but he's the big bad. I don't know. Something is off about that to me, and I just don't have the words to explain it. I don't have the brain power. So we're gonna keep reading and see if anything gets explained. Forgive the hiccups that I have, but I cannot get them to go away. They've been here for like 20 minutes. But it is a little after 10 o'clock. My audiobook load is supposed to go back to the library at 10:15. I have everything on airplane mode, so hopefully I will be able to circumvent that and continue reading. But I have been reading since 7:45 this morning. I've made a decent dent. I don't think I checked in with you last night before I went to bed because I was exhausted. It was like 11:30. Could not keep my eyes open anymore. So let's see what I've written. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of hiccups. Okay, so really all that I have highlighted and made note of is that we got more flashbacks into Dalinar's life and his relationship with Evie, who was his wife that he had completely forgotten, and we kind of got a lot of their back I take that back. We didn't get a lot of their backstory, but we got snippets of it. And we just saw Dalinar being so focused on following whatever Gavilar tells him to do, going off for years on war, and Evie just not wanting him to be that man anymore, and them kind of getting into arguments because Dalinar believes that she knew what she was signing up for, but she's saying like, no, I see something better in you. You don't have to constantly be fighting and everything. So there's a lot of tension between them, and I just started to feel really, really bad for her because of the way that he reacted to things, the way that he treats her. It's not fun to read. Like, I just don't fully understand why he had to be so heartless to her. Like, I know we're trying to get this like darker side of him, this darker backside, but it doesn't make me like him. Like I've already said, like I've been struggling with how I feel about Dalinar, and I believe that's the entire point. So I think that Brandon Sanderson is doing this well to make us not blindly trust Dalinar all the time and blindly believe in all of the things that he says and does. It's giving us a more rounded character, but it's still just like, he was married to this woman because it was a better political move. It got him extra shard plates that he could pass on to his heirs, and he's secretly still in love with his brother's wife. And there never really seems to be a moment where in these flashbacks that we've gotten that Dalinar has been in love with his wife, which fine, that's fine. Sometimes that doesn't happen in arranged marriages, political marriages, but it just seems like she was trying so hard and he did not appreciate any of that, and talked down to her a lot, made her seem like she was dumb, and she even complained that like all the women in Alethi make her feel so small and so insignificant because she's not as smart as them. She doesn't try and outwit other people. She just wants peace. And so it just made me really, really sad for her and made me more frustrated with Dalinar than I have been in this book. But then it really hit me when Dalinar's need for revenge, need to get back at a man who had betrayed him, ends up in Evie being killed because she just wanted to have peace and she was trying to do her best to help him out and make things a little bit easier for him. Whoop, dropped my Kindle. And she ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time and ended up literally being burned alive because of something that Dalinar had decided to do to get back at Tanalan, who was the 6-year-old that he ended up not killing in my previous major rant about Dalinar. And Tanalan grew up and then decided to betray Dalinar as a way to get revenge for his father's death, and then Dalinar then went and killed all of Talanan's family again. So he's just showing the dark side of him, and it's hard to read because I did start to care about him as a character, and I still do. I still believe that the things that he's doing now are for the greater good, but it's hard to read a character that you care about being so kind of nasty, just not a great person. And then immediately after Evie's death, Dalinar kept saying to himself, this isn't your fault. How dare she do this? Stupid, frustrating woman. This is not his fault, not his responsibility. And it just irks me. And I know it's very similar to what Shallan's doing right now, pretending that Vale and Radiant are not actually Shallan. Anything that they think is just their personality. So we're seeing a lot of these people's flaws, and it's really cool to read, but it's still frustrating, and I still get mad at them and feel bad about it. So that is my big rant for the morning. It is now 10:15. I don't think this book is being taken away from me, so we might be in the clear. The last thing that I highlighted is that we are now in, oh my god, Kaladar? Kolindar? Is that right? Wherever Elhokar is the king, whatever land that is. I'm forgetting all my names right now. And they have got into the castle. The queen is being corrupted by some bad spren, and it seems like Shallan just got possessed because she's looking at herself in the mirror and is seeing a spren, and the spren said Radiant. My name is Shanat, and I am not your enemy. I could get that name wrong, but that is where I left off right now, and I'm eager to see if Shallan is actually possessed or if this person is here to help. So I'm gonna keep reading. I'm stressed because I have to go to a friend's party at 3 o'clock, and if I'm doing my calculations right, I will not be done reading this book until 4. So we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do. My phone might just be in airplane mode all day long so that I can go home and finish the end of this book without having to read it with my own eyes. Come on, that's too much effort. All right, I'm gonna go read now. No. Okay, I forgot that I wanted to mention that I had a feeling that Elhokar was going to die, and I wanted to say that I had kind of started to rethink that a little bit. I knew that he was going to die eventually, but I thought that we were going to be able to see him have a moment as being a really good king, like actually getting to lead his kingdom, and then he would die. But oh my god, Moash just killed him. Like, Kaladin and them were all fighting all of the Voidbringers, and a few of those Voidbringers were ones that Kaladin had already ran into, and Moash ended up having run into them in his point of view chapter that we had a while back that I never really reacted to. But the friends that Kaladin just had, the Parshmen that Kaladin had met and tried to help out, are now dead, and then Moash just killed Elhokar as Elhokar was trying to take the oath and become a Radiant. I thought we'd have a little bit longer with him. Oh, that's rough. Dalinar is not going to react well to that one. Oh shit. Damn it. I thought he would just have a little bit longer. Like, he was starting to do good, was still a little bit egotistical, but I thought he'd have a little bit of a moment. That's rough. Oh shit. Oh shit. Kaladin's not gonna react well to this. Oh god. Shit's getting good. What is happening? Now it looks like Adolin, Shallan, Kaladin, and Azure are all in Shadesmar. The Oathgate took them to Shadesmar and not to Urithiru. I am so confused. Things are happening. I feel like now I'm finally in it. All the things are happening. It took forever to get here. I swear this book has been the slowest so far. But still good. The audiobook trick didn't work. I don't know what happened, but it is 10:54 and my audiobook just got yoinked back. So we're gonna have to figure out how to finish this. I think I might be safe with my Kindle, and I do have the physical book obviously, but I still have 6 hours left of this book at 3 times speed is what I was reading at. So I don't know when I'm gonna be able to finish this book now. I'll probably, I'm gonna get the book on Audible. I don't think I have a credit, but I'll just buy a couple extra and get it on Audible. I just can't read with my brain anymore. I have to have it in both ways, so that's a bummer, but that means that I don't have to rush for my friend's party today, which will be nice, but dang it. All right, we tried our best, so I'm gonna just go get it on Audible now. Okay, I am just realizing now that Adolin and Renarin don't know what happened to their mom, because Adolin just said that Rathalos was where my mother was killed, assassinated by rebels. Her death drove my father into a fury. We almost lost into despair. It's not a pleasant event to think about. Sadeas burned the city to the ground in retribution. My father gets a strange, distant expression whenever someone mentions Rathalos. I think he blames himself for not stopping Sadeas, even though he was mad with grief at the time, wounded and incoherent from an attempt on his own life. So there's a whole story woven about how Evie died, and it's not the truth. And Dalinar has been lying to his sons the entire time. Obviously he didn't remember what happened until currently, but after her death, up until the point where he lost his memories of her, he's been lying about how she died, and that is going to blow up in his face probably. I feel like Adolin just looks up to his father so much, and so I really think that there's going to be a moment where he finally sees his dad for the flawed human that he is, and that's going to be a tough time. I wonder if it's going to happen in this book, because we are so focused on what happened to Evie, and then that just being said right there, like, not so good. Not so good. So we're gonna see what happens. And yes, I did have to buy the audiobook on Audible. It kind of bums me out that I couldn't have used it on the library. I kept trying to renew, but somebody was waiting for it, so it wouldn't let me. But oh well, now I can listen to this again when I inevitably have to go back and reread all of these books, because I forget all the details. I feel like this is a bit of a jump scare, but I went to my friend's party and it was fairy themed, and I attempted to do like smoky butterflies, but I ended up feeling like I looked like a swamp fairy or something. But I was proud of how it turned out mostly. But man, it was super hot and sweaty. So I came home a little bit early because I was starting to get a headache, and I am going to eat dinner and then begin reading for the rest of the night. So I'm not going to take this makeup off quite yet because it did take me quite a while to get it on. So if you see this, don't be startled. But I think I'm going to try and finish the book tomorrow morning. So I'm going to read as much as I can tonight until I get tired, and then finish it out tomorrow. And I am excited to see how this one ends. I will say that for this one, I don't really know what the overarching plot is, aside from trying to figure out what was going on in Alethkar and seeing if we can connect all of the oath gates. Like, I feel like that is the main plot, but other than that, I just feel like we are following the characters, getting to know their tragic backgrounds, getting to know their morally gray sides, and it's more of a character study, this book, and I'm enjoying that aspect of it a lot. However, it is very long. And I will say that my least favorite chapters are Szeth's chapters. I don't know what it is about them, but I can't pay attention to them very well. So I think that's where I left off last chapter. I saw that it was going to be a Szeth chapter, and I decided to put a pause, get ready, and go, and then I can hopefully come back to it with fresh eyes. So I don't know what it is about them. I just feel like they're a little bit confusing, because I think at first I thought that they were told in past tense, but I'm thinking that they're actually present tense, and it's just making me confused on what Szeth's doing. So I need to focus a little bit better on those ones because I am not following. But I'm very, very, very hungry and very thirsty, so I will do that first, and you will see this face again pretty soon. I think it turned out kind of fun. It's a little smoky. I am very dewy though, because it was 118 degrees today. Yay, and I'm dying. So I'm going to take off this long sleeve thing. I've been talking too long. Okay, it's the heat. It's the heat. It's making my brain mush. Whoa, I look scary. Okay, so I still don't understand what's going on with Szeth. I also feel like I missed a chapter about Kaladin. He was referring to something that the lighthouse watcher, lighthouse guard showed him, because I believe the lighthouse guard was a fortune teller, and I must have just completely glossed over that one, not really paid much attention to that. So I think I need to go back and reread those real quick. But before I do that, I just want to say, Adolin, Kaladin, Shallan, this whole like love triangle thing that's going on with them, I am starting to think that a part of Adolin's like downfall, after he finds out that Dalinar has been lying to him about how his mom died, I also think that Adolin's going to figure out that Shallan and Kaladin have feelings for each other, and he's just gonna feel ultra betrayed by everybody. So that's gonna turn him into Dark Adolin, which will be a fun journey. But I do think now, after getting a little conversation between Shallan and Kaladin, that they are just not the best match. I feel like they are just so doom and gloom that I don't think that they would pair well together. Like, they're too similar to be good for each other, because Kaladin asked her how she's able to be so bright and smiley after all of the things that she has done in her life, and she says that she just turns it off, that she stores it away and doesn't think about it. And even though it's getting harder and harder for her, she still does that. And Kaladin saying that he wishes that he had that ability, that he could just turn it off, because he just gets into these like mega depressive episodes and can't function. And he seems to be like praising her for trying to like stow these things away in one part of her brain. And I just don't think that it's a good dynamic to have. It's not a very healthy thing for them to do. I feel like they would just push each other to not be the best versions of themselves. So I'm team Adolin in this love triangle, but honestly I think Adolin can do a little bit better than Shallan, because she's kind of scaring me right now. I'm not the biggest fan of her in this like triple personality sort of thing. It's a little scary. So I kind of want the love triangle to end, but if I had to pick one for her, it would have to be Adolin, because he's just bright and sunshiny and happy, and she needs that positive outlook in life. Okay, I have to go reread a few chapters because I missed some stuff. Let's add this to another thing I missed in the last book. Apparently it was Renarin who had written all the numbers on the walls that Dalinar was seeing, that was like counting down till the big Everstorm fight battle thing that happened. Missed that. Or maybe I knew and just like totally wiped that from my mind. But apparently Jasnah is looking into all of the glyphs and numbers and stuff that Renarin was writing during that time, and Navani is intrigued by it. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what Jasnah is ever doing. She's a mystery. She's a big old mystery. So I'm gonna read for probably 2 more chapters and then call it quits for the night. So I don't know if I'll check in the rest of the night, but I'm a little confused, but I'm still enjoying it. So I feel like I was kind of right. Like, kind of, mildly. I did not get it all right, but we have found out that the humans are technically the Voidbringers. Taravangian has released a bunch of different essays and documents and stuff very secretively to all of the other kings and queens. I don't know if that's what they're called, all the other leaders of the different lands and stuff. And a few things have come to light, one of them being that he translated, or the Dawn Chant had been translated, and that translation was leaked to the public now. And in that translation, it was written in the Parshman's point of view, or the Parshendi's point of view, one of them, and they were referencing these new Voidbringers who were coming to the land without carapace armor, and that led the scholars who had translated it into understanding that the Parshendi or the Parshmen were there first and the humans had invaded their land. So it sounds like what happened was the humans had destroyed their original planet, which shocking that they would do that. And then when they came to, what's the name of this world? I can't remember the name of this world right now. Rothgar? I'm making things up, but when they came here, they were originally given Shinovar as their land because that's where they could grow the plants and animals that they needed. But humans, doing as humans do, decided that that wasn't enough space for them. That wasn't good enough. So they started expanding and taking over all of the other lands. So technically, the humans are the bad side. The humans are the bad ones. The humans are the Voidbringers, and we're fighting on the wrong side. So I kind of got that. I got it. I made that prediction. But what does this mean now? Because clearly the humans are still going to want to survive. They're going to want to live. Like, they've been here for so long. But also the Parshendi and the Parshmen have been here longer. Like, this is their home. The humans are the invaders. So I'm intrigued by that. I don't really know where it goes from there, but that's big news. Big news. And now everyone's turning against Dalinar because he kept a couple more secrets from them. He had some visions with Odium and did not disclose them to the other leaders, and so they don't trust him on that front. There's a couple other things that he did that he kept a secret. And so everyone's turning against him and everything's falling apart. And this is all Taravangian's idea to bring Dalinar down, because for some reason he just does not believe that Dalinar should be leading them into this new world. He thinks that he should be the one, even though his mind is not always there. He has more bad days than he has good days with his weird deal that he made for intelligence. So I have 3 hours left. It is 7 o'clock at night. I will hopefully be able to finish tonight. No, I'm gonna finish tonight. And if that means I'll be tired for a Monday, it's a Monday. I'm always tired on Mondays. So this video is getting so long. I'm so sorry. I really didn't think I was reacting this much, and then I uploaded all my footage today and realized that I have been reacting more than I thought. Sorry about that. Hopefully you're still with me. Renarin's bonded to one of Odium's Spren, and it really looks like Jasnah's about to murder him. I hope it doesn't happen. I feel like we haven't gotten enough time to know Renarin. Like, we have not gotten one point of view from him. So I don't think he's gonna die, but I'm gonna be so upset if he dies. No! is Dalinar gonna die? I have thought that Dalinar would be the one to die since book 1. I don't know if I ever shared that thought, but I have thought that Dalinar is going to die early on in this series. And I'm kind of feeling like this might be his book. It's just so heavily focused on him, and we haven't had any major casualty. I guess Elhokar in this book dying was pretty major, but we never got like a point of view from him. We didn't really see a lot from him. And I don't know, I just make predictions every book that somebody big is gonna die, and I just feel like it's gonna be Dalinar. And if he doesn't die in this book, I do still think that he will be one of the first major deaths that we get. I don't know, but I honestly don't know what's going on. This is like the most point of view shifts that we've ever gotten, I would say. We're getting Shallan point of views, Kaladin point of views, Dalinar point of views, Navani point of views. I think we got Yasna point of views. We got Gox, the like 14-year-old emperor of, I can't remember what place. We've gotten their point of view. Venli, the Parshendi. We've gotten, I think I already said Szeth, but we have like 7 or 8 point of views in these chapters right now, so things are going down, and I just feel like somebody is not going to make it out. Also, we have Teft, who is fighting off a Spren, so I think Teft is a full Radiant and not just a Squire, and he does not want to be, so that's pretty interesting too. So a lot's going on. Not fully sure what it is, especially these like giant monsters that are now there. I assume they came out of Shadesmar, but I am not certain on those. I don't even know what they are. In my mind, I'm picturing them as giant rock monsters, but I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's correct. So I'm a little confused, but what else is new? I'm gonna go see if Dalinar is gonna get dead. Somebody's gonna get dead. Somebody's gonna get dead. Better not be Renarin. Better not be Renarin. Okay, things are happening. I don't understand why the last 25% of Brandon Sanderson's books are just so intense, but we have confirmed stone monsters. I was correct. They are monsters made of stone. Okay, second thing. Adolin has been stabbed in the gut, is still in Shadesmar, cannot be healed right now. He might die. I'm worried about that, especially because Dalinar has already lost Elhokar, and so has Kaladin, so losing both of those two under Kaladin's protection will like sink Kaladin further into despair, and then Dalinar will just be broken. So will Navani, honestly. So hoping Adolin pulls through. Then we have Szeth, who has now taken his third, no. I'm so confused on Szeth's storyline. I'm not really sure why he has to go through all of the levels of trying to be a Radiant again, if I'm understanding that correctly. But at this like third tier that he is at, he has to follow a certain ideal or like promise himself to that ideal or person, and he chose to follow Dalinar. So we have Szeth now going in to help Dalinar, and I'm so confused by Szeth's storyline. I have been this entire time. I need to go and like Wikipedia that one because I don't really get it fully. I will make sure that I understand it by the time I get on to the next book, but that's been confusing me. But a lot is happening, and I am just trying to keep track of it all. I'm failing at it. I feel like I'm missing so much in this book. I'm gonna have to reread all of these eventually. We're getting a Renarin point of view. For a second, I thought all of Shallan's alter egos were also shipping Shallan with both Kaladin and Adolin, and I got really excited. But I think both Veil and Radiant inside Shallan want her to pick Kaladin, even though I think her and Adolin are so much better. I'm bummed. I just want this triangle to be real. I know it won't be, but I want it so bad. I already filmed the outro for this, but I totally forgot to mention one thing because I was so tired when I finished the book that I could not pick up my camera. So my feelings on the very end are a little mixed. I kind of feel like the ending was rushed for the book being so damn long. I feel like certain things were wrapped up kind of quickly, and I also feel like it's slightly, I almost want to say unbelievable how far Shallan, Kaladin, Dalinar all came with all of their powers. So Shallan was able to like animate like an entire army's worth of people, and I feel like we didn't see her animating like smaller groups and stuff. Maybe we did. I don't know. It seemed a little out of nowhere that she was able to do as much as she did with so little Stormlight. I also feel like Dalinar, he's always just been a swordsman, so like him having any sort of powers and him becoming unity at one point and knowing how to do that was shocking to me. Kaladin has always just been a little bit better at everything than everybody, so his arc with learning his powers and doing the things that he does doesn't shock me as much, but it does kind of with Bridge 4, and there's like Scar and Drahe, I think they were able to do all of the lashing and stuff, and I know they practice often, but I just feel like some of them have come a little bit too far with their skills, but I don't know. I also don't take in all of the details, I know that, so maybe I'm missing a few of their like practicing scenes and stuff, or like not absorbing them fully, so it doesn't make as much sense to me. But the only other thing I really feel like I want to add my thoughts on is, I know I've been annoying about me loving the whole love triangle going with Kaladin, Adolin, and Shallan, and I did. It was so much fun, and I still wish that it could have been a true triangle. I will always, always, always wish that within these first 3 books. I don't know how I feel about those characters in later books, but within those first 3 books, I feel like it would have been so perfect. But Shallan and Adolin decided to choose each other, which is fine. I predicted that in book 1 because Brandon Sanderson seems to like arranged marriages. He did it in Mistborn Era 2, kind of Mistborn Era 1. It's just his thing, and that's cool with me. But I feel like Shallan and Adolin getting married by the end of this book was too fast. I think that them forming a solid relationship with each other and choosing to be with each other was good. I was happy for that. But then knowing that they were getting married so quickly, I don't know how I like that. I don't think that it was the best choice for them. I feel like it would have been better if they just decided to be in a relationship, and I guess it's of its time. You were supposed to get married after courting for so long. They've been courting for, I don't know, months now at this point, so it makes sense in the world, but I would have liked to see them try out a relationship, maybe fail at it, and then come back together later on in the series. But that is just a me thing and how I like story arcs to go with romances, especially if we know that there are 6 more books in this series. You know, I feel like we could have taken a little bit more time, because now I just feel like them getting together in book 3, being married, sorry about my ceiling, being married, one of them isn't gonna survive the marriage, or we're gonna have to see like the relationship crumble a little bit more, and then them being already married will make it even more heartbreaking. But I also think that the resolution of Shallan and Kaladin's feelings for each other and then being like, I was never actually really in love, was just strange. But Brandon Sanderson is not a romance writer, so that's fine. I can forgive it. I didn't love it. So those are the 2 things that I was feeling towards the end. I was also very tired, so that might have weighed into some of my less than majorly positive thoughts. Whatever, I'm rambling. Let's get on to this outro. Alright, if you have made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Leave me any red emoji that you can find that you like in the comments if you wish to. If you do not want to leave an emoji, that is totally okay. You can let me know that you're proud of me for making it all the way through to the end of this book, even though I did not race the clock and beat Libby before it took back my audiobook. So yes, I do own it on Audible now though. But overall, I really did enjoy this one. I didn't enjoy it as much as the past 2 books just because I felt like it was a little drawn out at times, and I wasn't sure. I guess saying I wasn't sure isn't correct. I was not sold on the overall plot. I just feel like it didn't move as far as I hoped that it could. But I still enjoyed it, and I really want to move on to book number 4. So I will be picking that up next month. It might take me forever and a day to read it, just like this one, but I just really enjoy them, even though I know that I'm missing certain facts and information. But once I finish book 4, I will go on a deep dive of all of the things that I'm missing, all of the links between characters and everything else that I need to know. I will know before book 5 comes out. So I'm not too worried about missing some of those minor details. But yeah, this was fun. This was a good one. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching this. If you've watched all 3, thank you for sticking with me for what is hours worth of your life. So I appreciate it so much. And if you want to see me react to book 4 next month, go ahead and subscribe. Other than that, this video is long enough. I will let you go. Thank you for being here. Bye.